It is Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of Around Midnight Somewhere. It is Thursday, August 20th, 2020. I am Joe Carbonetta, and it's nice to be back, actually. We've been gone for so long. It's really exciting to be back. I am joined, of course, by my good friend, Mr. Todd Fluker. Todd, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, Joe. How about yourself?
It remains to be seen. So far, so good. I mean, we made it on the air. You know, it's like even though Louis DeJoy was taking away all the mailboxes in town, including the one we normally do the show from, we're still managing to be on the air. Even the Postmaster General couldn't kill us forever. Kind of really threw us for a loop that we were gone for a couple of weeks because, you know, we had to scramble to make new production facilities when he took away our mailbox.
What is the deal? Oh my goodness, this Postmaster General guy.
Yeah. Well,
is he just trying to make headlines?
I don't know. We totally are going to be talking about that a little later on in the program. Of course, we are live tonight. If
Fake
you are
news.
watching, yeah, seriously. If you're watching on Thursday, August 20th, 2020, we are live. You can join the conversation and call in. You know what? It's been so long since we've done this, Todd. I've forgotten where all the graphics are. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Let me throw that one in.
Or what our phone number is.
Exactly. No, I remember the phone number, but I wanted to get the date in. It's live if you're watching on August 20th, 2020. All right, so check that out. And if you want to get in on the conversation, you can call us at area code 951-356-6882. That is 951-356-6882. And we will put you on because we would love to talk to you because, man, it's just been forever. So anyway, yeah, now that we have gotten all of those little formalities out of the way, you know, we don't mean to be the show that is bad news. And by the way, we're actually like the morning show. If you listen to radio at all, we're like the morning show. We're just on at night. Yeah, that's pretty good, right?
The wacky sound effects?
Yeah. Exactly. The crazy sound effects and the silly music and the morons for hosts. Yeah, we're like...
And the lighthearted topics.
Yeah, but lately there just don't seem to be so many of those. So I started out to say, we don't mean to be the show that is nothing but bad news and politics and all kinds of garbage, but life is just making it really hard to avoid that. You know, I mean, we wouldn't be relevant at all if we didn't talk about what was happening, and of course, COVID is still happening. So, happy
What?
COVID Thursday? Yeah, oh yeah. As if the heat wasn't bad enough, now we got COVID too. Or maybe it's the other way around. As if COVID wasn't bad enough, now we got the heat too.
I'm pretty sure the president said the warm weather is going to take care of this whole nonsense.
Yeah, right.
What was he calling it? The China flu?
Yeah, something
It's
like
all
that.
fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
See, the morning show at night. So here's the thing. COVID is still with us, and for a couple of days anyway, the numbers started to trend on the decline. It was almost looking like maybe we had crested the wave and things were going to calm back down again for a little bit. But wait, don't get too excited, because as soon as everybody started to breathe a collective sigh of relief, wouldn't you know it, COVID rears its ugly head again. And the numbers have begun to spike again, at least in LA County. And I believe that Riverside County is close to moving into second place above Orange County for the number of cases. So go figure, none of that is looking too good. But worse than that, unemployment numbers came out. And in the last week, 1.1 million. Now, I remember this. I didn't say 100,000. I said 1.1 million new unemployment cases opened up in the last week. nation, and this is of course across the nation. This is not just in L.A. or the greater Los Angeles area or California. This is across the nation. But 1.1 million new unemployment cases opened up in a week, bringing the nation's total to 28 million people not working and depending on the free money being printed by the federal government. You know, that's fake money.
That's what the government's supposed to do, right? That's what they're like insurance. In case something happens, you need to have something to fall back on.
Well, you know, I mean, I wholeheartedly support unemployment. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these people should be left out in the cold. That is a joke considering the heat wave. Well, wait. Where's the laugh track? There we go. Anyway, but the thing is that there can't be. We all know what the gold standard is, right? That in theory, there's some gold somewhere in, like, it's not Fort Knox anymore, but we will call it Fort Knox. Okay. In theory, there's some teeny little piece of gold that backs up each one of those paper dollars that the federal government prints. There can't be enough gold on the planet for the money that they're making here.
I mean, don't they just borrow more from China?
Well, see, but here's the thing. If we can just print money like that, how can we have a national deficit? Why aren't we just, like, throwing money out everywhere and then, bam, you know, we don't owe nobody anything?
I think that's what happened in Greece. Didn't they try to do that a while back? And then the Greece denarii or whatever it is, their currency was worth, like, less than the paper it was printed on.
Yeah, well, that sounds about right. And it also sounds like something our president would do, is follow some other boneheaded scheme in some other nation and think that that's the solution to all the problems.
I mean, it would work for a few minutes.
For a few minutes, yeah. I don't even think it would work that long. I think the rest of the nations of the world would catch on real quick. In fact, I think most of them have. You know, of course, that the Canadian border and the Mexican border are pretty much still shut down, and Trump likes to say that that's his idea. But the fact is, those countries don't want any of us coming there because we can't get COVID in check down here.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, there were lots of headlines about Wuhan, China hosts massive water park party as coronavirus concerns recede. So this is the epicenter of the virus, and they're on the downslope of this
Yeah. Oh, wait, Todd?
whole country in the world.
Wow, Todd, you just totally froze up for a second there. I thought I lost you. No, you're good now. You're good, yeah.
But yeah, it's so sad and so strange how it seems like America just refuses. I can't say that they just don't want to. People want to, but they just refuse to do the work that they actually have to do. Because people are talking about how we might actually need to do another lockdown in order to get this whole thing under control, because the first one we did was so half-assed that it didn't work.
Oh, yeah.
And now people are like, oh, yeah, we were doing another lockdown. The first one didn't work. Yeah, you didn't do it right the first time.
No, you know, there have been so many medical experts that have said if we had done the lockdown right the first time, where everybody literally went inside and didn't go out, and yeah, it might have been a couple of months, and sorry if you were bouncing off the walls, but if we had all done that, the virus would have pretty much just died off in place, because it would run its course in those people that were infected, and the rest of us would not come in contact, so it couldn't propagate, and we'd be done. And that's what happened in a lot of other nations, but not here. Oh, no. Yeah. Not only could we couldn't manage to stay inside, we can't even handle wearing a mask.
You can't even handle the most basic ideas of, I want to say self-preservation, but, you know, that's the core of it, is self-preservation, let alone thinking of your fellow man and attempting to protect not only yourself.
Oh, Todd, you're killing me here. Your signal is just completely breaking up, and you're killing me. I think he's actually frozen this time. So, yeah, well, we'll hope that Todd makes it back in a second here. But like I was saying, actually, this is kind of funny leaving Todd with that frozen shot. But let me go to me for just a minute, because I like me anyway. I hope you do too. And if you are watching this evening, you can call in, because it looks like I'm going to need the help. But this is a real issue, that there is no one, I shouldn't say no one, but a large swath of the nation has problems with the idea of following social distancing or putting on a mask, even for some relatively short duration of time in relation to your entire life, first, let's say, I mean, a couple of months is not that much to ask. And yet, for some reason, we have activists in the street claiming that it's a violation of their civil rights to be forced to wear a mask or to be forced to socially distance themselves or to not be able to open up their business as, usual, for business as usual, although nothing about what's happening outside right now is business as usual. And so this is a major issue, and it needs to be addressed because other nations are, in fact, getting on with business as usual as the number of cases in those countries has substantially decreased to a more than manageable level. Todd, you're back with us again?
I hope so.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
You totally froze up. I don't know what happened there, but thank goodness you're back. It's good to have you. I was so lonely, Todd. I was so lonely.
Guess I've never been that heated. The internet couldn't take all that heat.
Is that what it is? Yeah, it probably should. It goes without saying at this point that there have been all kinds of problems, heat-related issues here on the West Coast. If you're watching somewhere else, wishful thinking on my part, but we like to dream big. If you're watching somewhere else in the country right now, maybe your temperatures are normal, but over here on the West Coast, we've been experiencing 110 degrees in some areas, like where I am, 110 degrees Fahrenheit on an almost daily basis. And for those of you who like international measurements, that's about 41 degrees Celsius. Pretty darn hot. So
that sounds like some of that communist talk. You better get out of here with that.
Well, like I said, I'm hoping that maybe there are people somewhere else in the world that are watching our stream right now, and I'm trying to put it into terms that they can understand. So this is wreaking havoc with equipment. We've been under threats of rolling blackouts the last several days. Again, knock on wood, it hasn't happened. Supposedly, people are conserving energy, and I don't buy that for 1 second. I think most of the energy crisis is manufactured by CalISO, and I think that they're smart enough to actually not manufacture one of these crises right now in the middle of COVID and everything else, because we've already seen what happens, with the police when they go a little too far to one extreme. I don't think Enron will happen this time. I think there'll be a militia that just storms Edison if they start doing stuff like shutting down people's power, claiming there's not enough to go around. So
wow, Joe, where did Joe go? All of a sudden, Chevelle popped up out of nowhere.
I'm just saying.
I'm hearing lots of conspiracy theories.
It's not a conspiracy
theory. Talk about well-armed
theory.
militias.
It's not a conspiracy theory. Enron was real. A whole lot of people went to jail behind that for their collusion and their price fixing and their manufacturing of a crisis. And I think that everybody has finally reached the breaking point where they're just not going to put up with the BS anymore. And I frankly don't blame them. It's not that I'm advocating riots. Do not get me wrong. Do not misconstrue what I am saying. Violence is never the solution to anything. But I think people have just had enough of all of this insanity, and they finally reached a breaking point. If you agree, if you don't agree, either way, why don't you give us a call? We are live if you're watching Thursday, August 20th. 951-356-6882. That is the number to call. You can join the conversation, give me your opinion, because I noticed Todd went completely silent on the power issue. Come on, Todd. You're not afraid of a horrific bill?
That all sounds a little bit far-fetched to me, Joe, but hey, I don't know.
You really don't think people would get upset if there were massive rolling blackouts everywhere?
I think normally every year there is a few blackouts here and there. I'm surprised there hasn't been one yet. I gotta knock on some wood.
I'm gonna go way back, which gives you an idea of my age. But I'm old enough to remember when power prices were regulated by the government. And there was only one phone company, and that was Pac Bell back in the day, and that was regulated by the federal government too. And natural gas prices, all the utilities were regulated by the federal government, and the prices were reasonable. In fact, they were downright cheap. They were affordable. Energy production was cheap, and funny thing, we never seemed to run out of it. And then it was deregulated. A whole bunch of privatized companies got involved. And what do you know? The next thing that happens, my prices start going up exponentially, and then there's a power crisis.
Oh, we got CJ in the YouTube chat. He says, Joe's here in the chat. Trucks are the best car ever. Trump, 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 blah, blah, blah.
What? I'm sorry, what?
I don't know. Apparently, that's all he hears when you talk, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Something about trucks, propane, and propane accessories. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, by the way, CJ obviously not joining us this evening because apparently he got so absorbed in the chat he forgot to log in. No, that's not true. He actually had some other things to do, and it's good that he was able to take a minute or two to join us, even if it was just to mock me. But a reminder, of course, that if you're watching the show this evening, and this evening happens to be the 20th of August, then we are live. And
August.
You should.
Yes, August.
Yeah. Why? What were you thinking?
You sounded like you paused for a second, like you were trying to remember.
Oh yeah, no. I actually had it in my head. I was trying to find the graphic while I was saying this. So, it's 20th of August, and we are live, and you can join our conversation tonight if you want to. 951, 356-6882, and you should call and join us. Okay, so we're going back to the power issue. So they've been threatening rolling blackouts. It hasn't happened for the most part. I think day one of the.
Well, come on. If I were a thinking man, I might say you were editorializing from the jump, saying they're threatening blackouts. I'd say they're warning you about blackouts.
Well, okay, you can look at it your way. If you want to believe that everybody is just all good. But like I said, the Enron scandal was pretty egregious, if you ask me. And as much as the power, as Cal ISO, the independent system operator. By the way, in case you were wondering what that was, as much as they'd like to hope everybody forgot about that kind of stuff, it's kind of like ARCO. Nobody remembers when ARCO was selling transmixed gas and killing people's cars before they could even get off the island. But that happened in the 80s. That was real. There were lawsuits, and they whitewashed the whole thing. And now everybody's hoping that nobody remembers Enron.
That's when ARCO had to come out with those commercials saying, there's nothing wrong with our gas.
In case you ever wonder why ARCO is the only company that still has commercials that say, there's nothing wrong with our gas, that's why. And you won't find a lick of information about that on the web. I know, because I've looked, and it's whitewashed. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. But it's real.
Just like that time, what was it, Jack in the Box was selling kangaroo meat or something that in their burgers?
That happened back in the day, too. Well, and now they're munching meals. I don't know, now they're marketing to people that, go out and get high. Do you think they really care if they're eating kangaroo meat?
Oh, CJ says it was horse meat.
I'm pretty sure it was kangaroo.
And also Deli says hello in the YouTube chat.
Hey, hello, Deli. How are you this evening? Deli, I'm going to say like I always say, call in. There's the number, 951-356-6882. I have to breathe.
But aren't kangaroos seriously like a nuisance animal in Australia?
They
encourage people to kill them, I think.
They might be, which is probably why Jack in the Box is like, hey, we'll use this stuff. We can get tons of it. I bet.
Yeah,
Australia was probably mad when Jack in the Box had to stop doing that.
What are those things that are like down in the south in the bayou and things like that? There's like those nutria. They're like giant rats, and they're like taking over the ecosystem, and they're like paying people by the head to go out and kill these things because they came out of nowhere and they're just dominating the ecosystem and killing all the natural plants and animals that are there. It's just eating everything up, these things.
I gotta say, Todd, I have no idea what you are talking about. But I'm intrigued.
Heard about that?
I have not heard about this. I'm intrigued. I've heard about the killer hornets that are coming, the murder hornets, I believe they're called.
The murder hornets.
Yeah, that they're on their way. They're coming this way. They've been found in Washington or something like that. Yeah. So, the killer bees wasn't bad enough. Now we got the murder hornets.
Yeah, I love that meme. It's like every month it seems like there's something. Every month of 2020 there's something new that's headline grabbing headlines that are out there. Murder hornets, they're coming to kill you.
Well, I'm going to go on record as saying the Mayans said it was going to be like this at the end of that last Baktun, and everybody laughed. It was I forget what date it was, in December of what year, and everybody said, "Oh my God, the world's coming to an end," because the Mayans said so. That's not what the Mayans said, but the Mayans did say there would be all kinds of bad things that were going to happen. So now we've got like the 12 plagues all over again, And I don't want to mock anything, but being here in Southern California, I'm just waiting for a big earthquake, because that's what happens when we have one of these extended heat waves.
CJ says it was 2012, but I don't know. Maybe they don't subscribe to our Roman calendar. Maybe their calendar was a bit different, and they meant 2020.
Well, they didn't say it was going to happen like that right afterward. They said it was just at the end of that, the cycles begin repeating, and we go all the way back to zero, and yeah, they didn't give a specific timeline, and that's the thing. Everybody was like, "Oh no, it's supposed to happen exactly at 12 p.m." and we're not talking Nostradamus here. It was an astrological kind of thing.
Now that I think about it, 2012 was an awesome year, right? Everything's gone downhill since then.
Yeah, it's been a slow decline. The biggest plague, of course, was that we got Trump for president.
Yeah, and that was another headline I was just looking at. Exclusive breaking news, Joe.
Oh, okay. Wait. Here we go. Where is that? There we go. All right.
Top FDA officials say they would resign if agency rubber stamps an unproven COVID-19 vaccine.
Oh, you mean pretty much like the Russians did?
Yeah. Wasn't that there was that weird story? He was like giving his daughter some untested vaccine or something.
You don't think Putin's going to risk his own life? No, he'd rather take out one of his kids. Oh, that's too bad that she died.
I mean, they would probably grow up to try to stab him in the back anyway.
Yeah, that could be. Speaking of which, we got that in the story too, because, well, yeah, we'll go into that a little later on. There's some Putin news in here too. But yeah, the Russians pushed through this vaccine that apparently they used some regularly established criteria for making one of these vaccines, but they completely forwent all of the human clinical trials and went straight to administering it to everybody without knowing A, whether it will kill you outright, or B, whether it does anything at all.
I mean, that's what you get when you live in communist Mother Russia.
Oh, man.
I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah, either that or apparently you get poisoned. But like I said, we'll get into that a little later on. A reminder again that you are watching, if you're watching, around midnight on Thursday, August 20th, 2020. And you can join our conversation tonight. I am Joe Carbonetta. I am joined by the always interesting Todd Fluker. He's in his little man cave. Is that your man cave, Todd? Is that what we call that? Or...
I mean, that's what it's become.
Oh, all right.
It was my wife's office.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, and you took it over. I like your style there, Todd. If you want to join in on the conversation this evening, you can give us a call. That telephone number is 951-356-6882, and we'd love to hear from you. Yeah, so anyway, we were talking about Russia. We were talking about the vaccine and how nobody knows whether that's actually going to work, and no other country is signing on to get batches of this stuff because, frankly, they're all just concerned it's really Putin's plan to poison more of his detractors.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff happens here in America as well. You can't put it past people to, isn't that what Trump's basically trying to do for this election? He's trying to jury rig this thing any way he can.
Oh, yeah.
He's
definitely taking pages from the Putin playbook. Wow, that's a tongue twister right there. Pages from the Putin playbook. Say that 10 times fast. Pages from the Putin playbook.
Page from the Putin playbook.
Oh man, yeah. So,
oh man, we gotta make one of those memes. Have you seen that one? It's like the meme of the guy interviewing Trump, and he's like handing him the paper, and it's like, what is this? Guess they one that says Putin playbook.
Yeah,
put it right on there.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Hey, well, you know what, Todd? I nominate you. I put you in charge of that one. And maybe you can get that done by next week. That'd be great. We could like roll it in on the show.
Yeah. So seriously, is Trump gonna win? I mean, is he gonna pull off the miracle he's trying to pull off?
I can only say I'm not afraid to say I hope not. If it's funny.
Trump, come on, I hope not as well, but
Trump is
I don't know.
Talking about all this garbage about how it's possible to, defraud the election by creating votes that don't exist. Let me tell you something, President Trump. And notice how I was gritting my teeth when I said that. That President Trump, that is. That if there was a way for me to file more than one ballot voting against you, I would do it. I would totally do it. It's not legal. I don't know of any way, but if I could, I would.
Yeah, if there was literally anything I could do that I felt like would help that not happen, him get reelected, there's no way I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I would have to. I don't want this to go on for 4 more years. This literally, I imagine what could have happened if anyone else was in charge during this whole thing. Yeah. I can't imagine it would have gone on this long, this badly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. The funny thing was there were those who said that the election of Trump was a referendum on Hillary Clinton. And I believe that it was. I really believe that people did not, for some reason, they did not like Hillary, and they just did not want her. I mean, she didn't come across as that personable. And there were a lot of rumors about her not being a genuine person behind the scenes and so on and so forth. All that aside, because, and I hate to draw parallels here, but we're hearing all of these very same stories now about Ellen DeGeneres, so that having been the case, be it that as it may, it could not possibly have been even this bad, let alone worse, if Hillary had gotten in the big chair instead of Trump.
There's no way. Anyone could have done a better job. CJ's jumping in on the YouTube chat. He's got a lot of stuff to say.
Oh, I'm sure we've infuriated him now.
Do you think Biden will win?
Again, I can only say, God, I hope so.
He says, not a Biden fan, not a Harris fan. Their entire platform is, we're not Trump. We need more than that.
Well, let's face it. CJ's not a fan of anybody, except that he does always seem to end up on the side of defending Trump. Whether he likes him or not, he certainly does do an awful lot to defend him.
Yeah, he's the number one Trump defender. Yeah, I don't know why. He just is.
It leaves me scratching my head, but yeah.
But I feel like I've heard the same from other people though, and that seems a bit concerning for the upcoming election. That people like Biden, okay, they have their reservations, but then some people are like, they are totally against Kamala Harris. And they're saying, if she's the running mate, then they're not going to vote for them. And I'm like, you would really let that bar you from voting for him to get Biden in the office and pretty much make that a vote for Trump.
Well, yeah. Now, we got to go to a break pretty quick, but last thing before we do that, I don't know if you've caught any of the Democratic convention, Todd. Have you watched any of those?
I watched a little bit of that opening night with, Michelle Obama's speech and whatnot. It was very interesting.
Yeah. For the most part, I watch it just for the curiosity of it, because frankly, I don't need to see these conventions in order to know that there's really only one way to go. And by the way, I'm trademarking this phrase: just say Joe. That's it. We all know the old phrase, just say no. Well, now it should just say Joe. It's real simple, and if you keep that in the back of your mind, you'll know exactly what to mark when you check off your ballot. But anyway, speaking of Hillary Clinton, who I've never been a big fan of either, and I'm not going to lie, I did not, she wouldn't have been my first choice. I would have rather seen Sanders on the Democratic ticket, but it was Hillary. I will say that I voted for Hillary long, Trump was never even a consideration for me, and he made it into the White House anyway. But Hillary had a really great zinger at the Democratic convention. She started out by saying one of his campaign messages was, vote for me, because what have you got to lose? Well, and then she looked straight in the camera and said, well, now we know. Now we know what we've got to lose if you end up in the White House. All right. On that note, we're going to go take a break. So we will be back in a couple of minutes right here on Around Midnight Somewhere.
Hey. Okay.
If you love me enough to tolerate my perfect little pets and all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
America's veterans are more than a source of pride. They're a source of strength. When our veterans thrive, our communities thrive. With your support, our veterans can get career and education opportunities as well as benefits they've earned.
Hi, I'm Congressmember Judy Chu. Join me in thanking our nation's veterans. They've given so much. Find out how you can support veterans in our community.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
All right, we are back right here on Around Midnight Somewhere. I am Joe Carbonetta, and we are live if you're watching on Thursday, August 20th, 2020. I am joined, of course, by my good friend, Todd Fluker. Todd, how is it going? Are you still there? You haven't froze this time?
I'm just looking. I think the official hashtag is #GoJoe, which I also could endorse. That sounds like a G.I. Joe thing. And
okay,
that was
yeah.
Yo-Joe.
Yeah, that's true, but I still say just say Joe. That's the way to go.
That's pretty good, too. Yeah.
I like that one. I thought that was pretty witty. Yeah, anyway,
Yo-Joe.
again.
Yeah, it should be Yo-Joe.
Yeah, well, see, there you, well, yeah, I guess any way you look at it, you could be stepping on trademarks there. That Go Joe thing is closer, because the just say Joe was just say no to drugs, and now it's just say Joe. Anyway, yeah, hey, I'm spending way too much time on this.
Well, CJ's saying he wasn't much of a fan of the just say no thing, so he says you're not helping your
Again,
case with
he's
him.
not a fan of anything. So you find me one thing you do like, CJ, and then we can have a conversation about that. Anyway, so again, we are live, 951-356-6882. That's the number to call. But CJ, I love you anyway. You're my brother, and I'm really glad that you're chiming in this evening, because frankly, that's one of the few comments we're actually getting on the show tonight. Even if they're all negative and naysaying, that's CJ.
Well, he says apples. He likes apples.
Apples, really? That's interesting.
What's your favorite apple? What's your favorite
really?
apple, Joe?
My favorite apple? Oh gosh. I can't think of the name of it now. Not the traditional Red Delicious. That one has and it's not the Fiji, but there's another one that's similar.
Honeycrisp?
No, not the Honeycrisp.
Honeycrisp is my favorite.
Really?
Oh man, that's the apple for me.
I can't think of the
It
name of
used
this
to be
thing.
Granny Smith's, but Honeycrisp. Oh man.
Huh. Yeah, no, I'll keep thinking about it because there is an apple that is my favorite. I cannot think of the name of it right now.
CJ says Gala apple.
Gala, that's the one. That's the one. Thank you, CJ. Gala apples is the one.
Wow, you two are like an old married couple. I'm not sure if he was filling in your answer or if he was just saying he likes Gala apples.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I'm not sure either. Anyway, going back into the conversation this evening. Yeah. Oh, wow. The Democratic presidential ticket has been made official. Obviously, the Democratic convention's been going on. Joe Biden is set to speak this evening. We heard from the official VP nominee accepting the nomination last night, Kamala Harris. And it's funny, I've heard her name pronounced a half dozen different ways. The only one that we know is wrong is Camilla, because it's definitely not that. But I've heard Kamala and Kamala. I'm assuming it's Kamala. I believe that is the correct pronunciation, but I could be saying it completely wrong. Anyway,
Yeah, I feel like I've heard both Kamala, or
Kamala.
yeah, but I feel like I heard Kamala.
I think it's Kamala.
Yeah,
I think it's Kamala. But anyway, she is the vice
Kamala.
president. And interestingly enough, something that you said kind of resonated. Immediately after the nomination was made official, let me take a step back from that even. Okay, prior to the announcement of the candidate, the running mate candidate, some polls, in fact, several polls, had Joe Biden at a 12-point spread over Trump if the election were held tomorrow. Now, granted, there's always that plus or minus margin of error. They were estimating 2 points. So if we err on the side of conservative, it was a 10-point spread between Biden and Trump, with Biden handily in the lead. Immediately after the VP nomination or the selection of a VP candidate was made, that spread dropped to 4 points. And if you put in the margin of error, it went down to 2 points.
yeah. Then you're like, he's barely scraping by.
Now, yeah. Now, the primary assumption, or the simplest thing that anybody could say, was that the reason for this was, well, it's Kamala Harris, and Kamala is a woman, and this is the reason that nobody wants her to be elected. Basically, a lot of the same things that they said about Hillary Clinton, that it was the fact that it was a woman and the nation's not ready to have a female president and so on. In fact, we talked about that on the show at the time that Hillary was running for the presidency. But there's a bigger issue. There was a mass celebration in the wake of Kamala's nomination because they said it broke a curse, a long-standing tradition of not selecting a running mate from the state of California. And Californians all across the state rejoiced, yay, we have a presidential or vice presidential nominee again. The bigger argument from the political analysts is that the reason the point spread dropped so dramatically after the announcement of Kamala is not that she's a woman, not that she's a woman of color, but because she's a California public official. And in California, we're seen as just too progressive for the rest of the nation. We've got the highest taxes in the state, the highest gas prices, the highest homeless population. We're trying to help all the homeless people. We're trying to be a haven for the immigrants, so on and so forth. And a lot of the nation apparently gets soured on that idea. Their concern is if you get a Californian political official into the highest office in the land or near the highest office in the land, a lot of those progressive agendas are going to become national agendas.
I wonder, people certainly have that perception of California, what with all our, kale chips and single bathrooms for, all the sexes, everybody's going in the one bathroom. I don't know how it goes, but Yeah, I can see that turning a lot of people off in the rest of the country. And Deli's jumping in on the YouTube chat. She says, that's discrimination just to be a woman, just for be a woman.
Well, nobody would argue that.
I think that certainly turned off I would say that would have to turn off a certain number of people, just that she's a woman.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are those. I mean, let's be realistic. There are people, we have seen white supremacists out protesting because suddenly they're not afraid to be out in public and announce that they're white supremacists. So we know that there is a segment of the national population that is going to have a problem with the fact that there's a woman on the ticket. We know that there's a segment of the population that's going to have a problem with the fact that it's a person of color on the ticket, regardless of her gender. But by and large, it seems that the bigger concern, the biggest concern, is that she's a Californian, a native Californian. And by the way, they Snopes and I believe the Associated Press and several other agencies have already gone through their own process of vetting her to confirm that, in fact, she is born right here in the state of California, and she is, she is a native to the United States and totally qualified and, has the right to run for the highest office in the land. So this whole thing about Trump sitting there saying, oh, she was born someplace else, and therefore it's illegal to have her on the ticket, that's all garbage. All right, everybody's already vetted this.
Mean, that's page 2 in the Putin playbook.
Oh, yeah.
That Trump reads from is, just that's what he did with Obama, right?
Exactly.
Like, he's from Kenya.
So everybody got out in front of this right away to discredit Trump from trying that route with Kamala Harris and saying, "Oh, hey, look, she's not, she's not legitimate. She's not legitimately entitled to run for office." They've already put that one. They stomped it into the ground. So that was pretty amusing.
Already.
Yeah.
And CJ's jumping in on the YouTube chat. He says the Kamala nomination was part of the deal to get her to back off during the debates. So you think she was a little bit too loud a voice, a little bit too dominant?
I'm gonna, that's an interesting theory, CJ, but I'm going to say I don't buy into that one either because, again, we are dealing with a political official from California, and so there were those people in the early stages when Kamala was running as a presidential candidate. Most political reviewers, most of the analysts were saying she didn't have a chance anyway because outside of the state of California, she was a virtual unknown. And if they did know of her, she was a Californian, and therefore nobody was going to elect her president for fear that her Californianist agenda would become a national agenda. So I really don't buy that. I don't think that there was any kind of quid pro quo in the background to get her to back off. I really think that, again, Sanders and I can't think of there was another woman who was a candidate. I suddenly can't think of her name. I think she was a far bigger threat initially until it turned out that all of her lofty aspirations she had no actual plans for. And that's what was the death of some of those other candidates. But yeah, I don't think it was a quid pro quo kind of move. If anything, if there was a reason, if there was an agenda for putting Kamala Harris on the ticket, it was probably to appeal to the vast majority of minorities that could theoretically turn an election, as was the case when Obama was running several years back. If there was a reason for doing it, that was it. The whole Black Lives Matter movement, all of those things, that would be a much easier argument to make for putting Kamala Harris on the ticket than saying it was just to get her to back off during the debates. And I'm not saying I buy into all that either. I just think that's a more realistic explanation.
Well, we have a new commenter, Reason. He's jumping in the YouTube chat. He's got something to say.
Oh.
He's saying he disagrees, that he doesn't think that it was that the reason for Biden's numbers going down was because of Kamala Harris. He says a small percentage, perhaps. Bigger concern is her record, I believe. And then he goes on to say that you guys are spreading propaganda. He did not say that she wasn't born here. He said some lawyers believe they should argue the amendment and win based on past rulings on the second half of the amendment.
Well, Reason, I'm going to say that you misunderstood what we were saying. Nobody said that Trump has said that yet. What is said, as you point out, there were mumblings about it being a potential tactic that Trump might use.
Stumbling block.
And so, well, no, it might be a tactic that he would use, if the polling numbers started to look really bad. And so several groups, I mean, it's headlines. This isn't us making anything up. It is headline news that the Associated Press and Snopes and several other people already jumped out in front of this and vetted her and can say definitively she was born right here in the state of California, because they were very much afraid that Trump would try to use it, or somebody in his administration, somebody in his campaign would start trying to use that as one of the tactics to discredit the ticket. So that's what we're saying. We're not saying Trump actually said it. We're saying they jumped out in front of it so that Trump can't say it. Anyway.
And CJ's jumping in. He says that Kamala does not appease the Black Lives Matter people. She's a cop. Is she former law enforcement?
She did. She was connected. So yeah. There probably is an argument to be made there. And on the other hand, you could see it as the middle ground, because yes, she was a district attorney. She was connected with law enforcement, so she might get the backing of those groups. At the same time, she is a woman of color. She is a woman and a woman of color, and so she may appeal to some of those groups as well. She may not, and I don't think anybody's trying to appease anybody either. I will go on record as saying I don't believe it's about appeasement.
Oh, please!
What?
You gotta be kidding me, Joe!
Oh no, I don't think it's about appeasement at this point. Come on, seriously.
It's always about appeasement. Half of the reason they choose someone is because they check a box. What are you talking about, Joe?
Well, I mean, how many qualified candidates are? I suppose there was a long list of qualified candidates. Now, Biden had said from earlier on that he wanted a woman as his vice presidential running mate. I'm wondering, and again, this is pure speculation on my part, I am wondering how much of that had to do with the complete failure of Hillary Clinton's campaign to get elected, that maybe they are moving that agenda forward to get a woman close to the highest office in the land. Again, I would find that to be a much more realistic argument than simply saying, oh, we just wanted to check all these boxes. I mean, if you want a blatant, let's check all the boxes, remember when, what is her name? Peyton? Not Peyton.
Palin.
Palin was put on the ticket. That was appeasement. That was appeasement. And unfortunately, everybody saw through that.
Come on. She was only checking boxes. She was not anywhere near qualified.
That's all she was doing, was checking boxes like, oh, I can see Russia from my house. Check that box off.
I'll tell you the one reason that I just remembered that I'm all about this ticket all of a sudden. Biden-Harris 2020.
Okay.
I just remembered who played her on SNL. Maya Rudolph. She did a killer Kamala Harris.
Who, by the way,
Maya Rudolph. She was great.
Maya Rudolph has already gone on record as saying that she actually, another reason, again, she doesn't like Trump either, but another reason she wants to see the Biden Harris ticket to succeed is that she's looking forward to at least 4 years of getting to reprise that role on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it's lambasting her every night, every Saturday night. It would be hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, totally.
But I think Reason and CJ are having their own little conversation here in the YouTube chat. She's Reason saying that they're appeasing the lawyers, not Trump, and Chevelle saying, "Can we all trust the news?" Just like Chevelle.
Yeah,
that's what he would say.
Those two sound like
Reason
birds of a feather.
Biden boxed himself in. She was a loon. Maybe that was about Palin.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that wasn't Biden that had him on the ticket. But anyway, so interesting. Going back to the convention, I found another fantastic line that I wanted to share with everybody. Did you by any chance get to see the part of the convention where Obama spoke? And this was leading up to Kamala Harris's acceptance speech last evening. My favorite line, I mean, he broke a long-standing tradition. He literally just started lacing into Trump by name. Now he's not done that before. He has said that he's not happy with administrative policies and so on and so forth, but he's always taken the higher road, and he's never called out Trump by name until last night. And last night, my favorite line, he said, quote, "Trump hasn't grown into the job because he can't." End quote. I love that.
Wow.
He had said at one point, he said, he never expected, and this is paraphrasing now, but Obama said that he never expected that the incoming administration after he stepped down as president would embrace all of his policies or continue on with his vision. But he had hoped that Trump would at least take the job seriously and aspire to do good for the nation rather than help his cronies.
Yeah, help himself and all his friends.
And then he went on to say Trump hasn't grown into the job because he can't. Oh, man. If I could have reached through the TV set and shaken Obama's hand, I would have done it.
Give it a nice crisp high five, because that's a drop the mic moment. That's great.
Seriously. In fact, there were a lot of political analysts again who said that Obama's speech way overshadowed Kamala's acceptance speech. That she fell flat by comparison, but a lot of it was probably just the shock factor of Obama getting up there and calling out Trump by name. So
it's hard to follow that. I mean, he's already someone everyone knows. They're already behind him. Especially in this venue, everybody's 100% behind this guy. So I'd say it's hard for anybody to follow that act.
Yeah, well, definitely so. So anyway,
real quick, Reason's jumping in. He says it's kind of obvious that Biden was very short on liberal women candidates who wouldn't bring his numbers down with independent voters and centralist Democrats.
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that Reason doesn't care for the Democratic ticket at all. I'm
getting that idea.
I'm almost afraid to ask if she. Well, shouldn't say she, because I don't know if Reason is a he or a she. And it doesn't really matter. I don't know. What I'm concerned about is whether Reason is actually leaning toward voting for a re-election of Trump.
It's starting to sound that way. He's I think this might be just Chevelle on like an alter ego name, because he's kind of defending Trump a lot.
Interesting. Yeah. Well,
you think Chevelle's like he's watching on his laptop and then he's got his phone logged into a different YouTube page or a YouTube account? And he's like, this CJ guy knows what he's talking about.
It would be sad to think that our only two viewers are actually the same person, but it's probably pretty realistic.
It's not far from the truth.
Yeah, seriously, because if we actually look out, that was a look into the audience right there, and then there's nobody there. There's nobody there. So, anyway.
I mean, the whole thing just sounds kind of cruddy. I mean, I was reading a nice headline about a 13-year-old boy describing how he likes Biden, how he's a known stutterer, and this boy his confidence has grown because he stutters as well. And I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it to give this guy a second chance at the presidency. He already lost. How many times has someone lost their first bid at the presidency and won the second time? Has it happened?
Yeah, I believe Reagan ran for president once. Well, at least he was trying to get on the ticket, didn't make it, but then ultimately did become president later on. But I'm not sure where you're going with that. You're saying has been president, didn't make re-election, and then went back and ran again afterward?
No. No, I'm saying the last time he ran against Trump and lost.
Okay.
And now why are we giving him a second bite at the apple? I don't think he's got what it takes to beat this guy.
We're talking Biden here?
Biden, yes.
Biden didn't run against Trump. That was Hillary Clinton that ran against Trump.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot he was
Hello?
vice president. He was vice.
Oh,
I forgot.
You know, you're making me you're getting all the white guys confused. You're making me think of this fantastic somebody brought this up the other day and I had to go back and watch it because I just died laughing. If you get a chance, I totally encourage you to go to YouTube and type in Sam Rubin and Sam Jackson. And watch that interview because oh my god, that was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, he asked him something about the Capital One commercials or something like that.
He asked him how the Super Bowl. He asked him how the Super Bowl commercial went. And Sam Jackson freezes and says, "What Super Bowl commercial?" And then you were waiting for him to say, "Oh hell no."
But I'm not Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh yeah, no, it was phenomenal. He's like, "I'm the what's in your wallet black guy."
Yeah.
He goes on to say, "We don't all look alike," and there was a whole. You have to watch it. I mean, it was so hilarious. Yeah. He was really mad. He was really mad. Anyway, so you just made me think of that when you're like, "Yeah, did he run?
Probably happens. I mean, it probably doesn't happen to Sam Jackson as much, but coming up, I'm sure that happened to him all the time."
Oh yeah, like I said, you gotta go to YouTube and type that in, Sam Jackson and Sam Rubin. I don't think it matters which one you put up first. The funniest thing was when you stop and think about it, they share the same first name. So how did he get that confused?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
Funny.
Yeah, it was
hilarious.
Great. It was absolutely hilarious. Anyway, I think it's actually about time for us to take another break, as a matter of fact. So we should probably get that out of the way. Not that we have sponsors or anything, but, just because we're expected to, run some public service announcements once in a while. So you are watching Around Midnight right here with the local boys, and we are going to be back right after this.
Oh, Vanessa. You going to text her back?
Nope. I'm high. I'm gonna hit the treadmill.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Nope. I'm high. How about they come over?
Where?
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
The lost cause. The ignored.
The impossible.
Meet your match. A Go-to-World Girl Scout identifies a big problem, creates a project, and takes the steps to solve that problem.
We stand out because we stand for more. Gold Award Girl Scouts don't just change the world for the better. We change it for good.
You are not your diagnosis.
A medical chart is not your identity.
And vision loss does not define you. Your drive shows who you are.
And you are not alone.
Because we are driven too.
To be a beacon of strength, a champion of courage,
an advocate for hope.
You are not alone.
Because we are stronger together.
We drive the research for the cures we're finding.
We're fighting macular degeneration,
LCA,
retinitis pigmentosa,
and the entire spectrum of blinding retinal diseases.
We fund.
We fight.
We win.
We
are
the foundation
fighting blindness. Together,
we are fighting blindness.
Join the fight at fightingblindness.org.
All right, you are watching Around Midnight Somewhere, and we are coming into the final half hour of the show this evening. Good evening again. I am Joe Carbonetta, and hope you're watching. Hope you're enjoying the show this evening. We are live if you're watching Thursday, August 20th, 2020, and you can join in on the conversation. We'll give you that telephone number in just a second, but first, I want to reintroduce my favorite co-host, well, one of two. CJ can't be with us tonight. We are missing him, although he has chimed in on the chat. Todd Fluker, how are you doing again? You made it back. It's always good to see you because, man, that freezing thing at the beginning of the show is really making me nervous.
Yeah, thankfully that happened just the once. I think, Charter's been working on the internet around here, something like that, but yeah, it's all good.
All right, well, I'm glad that you were able to rejoin us. I promised a telephone number, so let's get that up there right now. If you want to join in on our conversation, and again, there's only about 30 minutes left in the show, you can give us a call at area code 951-356-6882. The phone lines are open. I have seen text messages coming in, and I know we got a lot of people on the chat. We thank you all for watching this evening and for chiming in. But come on, somebody give us a telephone call, because frankly, we paid for all this equipment, so, we want to get a telephone call in there, too. Anyway.
Man, I don't know if, I guess it's a bad time for you personally, Joe, but everybody else, if you want to take a look at the Around Midnight Facebook page, producer Nikki, she was quick on the draw. She took the meme I was talking about, the one with Trump handing that guy the piece of paper, and put Putin's playbook on it. I've got the best plan right here. And I also tagged it in the YouTube chat. If anybody on the YouTube chat wants to check it out, check out our Around Midnight Facebook group and check out this awesome meme.
Well, thanks to Nikki. And actually, somebody took my plea seriously, and they actually called in. Good evening. You are on Around Midnight Somewhere with the local boys. How are you doing tonight, and who are we talking to?
Hello. This is Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Oh, this ought to be good.
All
Mr.
Right. Trump.
You have to tell you call me Mr. President.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. President. So why don't we talk about those mailboxes that your boy Louis DeJoy is taking away?
Well, I'll tell you. I told Louis, just say Joe. And he said, no.
Okay.
Well,
he took those mailboxes
I gotta go
away
with that.
as fast
That's
as
a great,
I could say
that's a great
Joey.
one.
Huh. Interesting. So I guess while we've got this live interview going, why don't you tell us what your campaign plan is for this upcoming election in November? How do you plan to battle the Democratic ticket?
Well, my comrades in Russia at this very moment are working 24/7 to rig the election for me.
Aha!
If we can't rig it electronically, they'll be assisting me militarily.
Oh, I see. As in you're going to call in the National Guard and all kinds of stuff again? Federalize the Guard?
That's it. That's exactly it. This whole COVID thing was a ploy just so that I could distribute my forces all around the United States.
Interesting.
I mean, it sounds like a joke, but I don't think it's a joke. I think he's being serious. I think Trump would do something like that. I mean, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, I guess you would do something like that.
Yeah.
That's right. And I put my plan right out there, right in front for the people to see, so that they think that it's not true. But boy,
Fake
I'm coming
news.
for you.
That's okay. All right. Well, this guy is
By the
scary.
way, Joe.
Yes.
Joe, I said Joe to drugs too, and now I'm super high. I said Joe to drugs, and I heard that Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris as his running partner. Can you believe that?
Yes.
You don't think that was a good choice, Mr. President?
Oh, dear God, no.
Interesting.
Look at my right.
You're going to eat her
man.
for breakfast,
Look
right?
at how professionally groomed he looks. He looks like a well-groomed poodle. Considering he's my lap dog.
Yes, but at least he has hair.
I mean, I think
What are
is
you trying to
actually
say, Joe?
President Trump.
I'm
You
trying
want
to
to
say
touch my hair?
the comb over's not working. You really should just wear a hat or something.
How dare you? I paid
Are you
millions of
kidding?
dollars for this hair.
He wears one of the most iconic hats made in the 20th century.
Which one would
I
that
think
be?
This is authentic chinchilla hair.
Yes.
Come on, the MAGA hat? If anybody thinks of a hat to associate with the 20th century, the MAGA hat's got to be in the top 10.
Well, he really should wear it more often then. I don't
That's
know. Because
that was my brainchild. Make America great again.
Yeah, you got to tip your
Straight
MAGA
from my
hat
lips
to
to
President
yours.
Trump on that one. He took the presidential office and merchandised it.
Meanwhile, he's also setting fire to the Constitution, in the back room. But yeah, that's
That's how you
gotta
make it great.
You got to make an omelet, right?
People love fire, Joe. They like to see a little bit of razzle-dazzle. That Constitution was stale and moldy. I added some flair to it, literally.
Well, yeah. I think we should have the president call into every show from now until the November election so that we can get continual updates on his strategies against the Democratic ticket.
Oh, it'll be my pleasure, Joe. But I'm very busy right now, so I do have to depart. But it was a pleasure.
Well, Mr. President, we thank you for your call. It's a rather dubious distinction that you chose our show to be on this evening, but yeah, thanks for the call. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Todd, you want to help me out here?
Yeah, I mean, thanks a lot for calling in, Mr. President. Great to hear from you. Can't wait to hear you next week. Tell us about how you're gonna every week to week you're gonna take Kamala Harris down.
Yeah,
because I mean, Biden.
We will make
Biden's nothing.
America great again.
That's right. That's a direct quote from your president. All right, farewell. Live long and prosper.
Yeah.
Good night, Mr. President.
Okay. Wow. Well, we got a telephone call there from the president. Wait. Now we got another telephone call. This is interesting. People finally believe the telephone number is real. Hey, you are on around midnight. Who are we talking to this evening?
You're speaking to Kevin.
Kevin, how are you tonight?
Not too bad. I'm not sure how much of a delay is on the signal here, but boy, I feel a little strange following the president on this one.
Oh my goodness!
Well, look at this guy.
I hope you bought your MAGA hat and you're wearing it right now.
Oh, that was epic. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, first and foremost, hey man, great to see you guys. Love the show. I actually wanted to comment on earlier we were talking about just running mates and qualification versus maybe perception of popularity. Not to knock any of the candidates, but I thought Andrew Yang was kind of interesting because here's a younger guy who was, on one side of the coin, younger guy who's really had his finger on the pulse of understanding the business of technology, which is a very huge thing globally. I mean, we all know that California is kind of the world nucleus of tech. If you remove California from the United States is no longer the superpower. So needless to say, tech is dominant. I loved Andrew's, just some of his ideas. He's one of these emotionless guys where he doesn't get caught up in the mudslinger and this other stuff, which for the same chance, I knew he had no chance because unfortunately, this is television. And as a society, we forget, because it's on television, that our politicians are not entertainers. So we want them to be witty and all this other stuff. And I don't know. say stupid things, whereas this guy wasn't that.
Well, Trump's been doing that really well.
Say, hey, here's my plan. I'm sorry?
I said Trump's been doing that really well, saying stupid things, that is.
He kills it every week.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, okay, I give every candidate a pass to do something stupid because God knows I've had bad days at work. But I don't know, man. The American political system should not be a reality show. But I don't know. Like I said, I really thought Andrew was interesting. At the same time, I knew, he has no chance. He's just from television standards, he's not exciting. He's not riveting. He's not controversial. People want somebody that's a character, some sort of a cartoon figure. I don't know. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree completely about Andrew Yang. He seemed like a really interesting guy and had a lot of, I want to say crazy, but I don't mean crazy. I just mean, kind of off the wall ideas.
Radical ideas
that that he wanted to get going. Like, I was trying to think of what it was. It was like the universal monetary something or other stipend he was talking about getting for everyone in the country. I mean, on the face of it, it sounded like a crazy idea, kind of a communist thing. Everybody gets a stipend of, a certain amount of money every month or whatever it is. You get paid, basically. And I mean, it would drag a certain number of people out of poverty, which is, a big concern. But would it foster, people just giving up on life, giving up on trying, all that kind of stuff that people say, communism does and things like that? It's certainly not communism, but
no, I
think a lot of people felt it was a bit communist adjacent.
Socialism. That's what it is. It's socialism, Todd.
Socialism.
Well, see, that was one part of this thing that I was kind of, okay, I don't know about that. And my feelings on it are, okay, me personally, I'm the kind of guy where it's like, you know what? The government does not have to give me anything. Just stop taking. Okay, that's first and foremost. And second off, let's say that everybody's on board and they say, okay, great, everyone's going to get this stipend of $1,000 a month. You're going to see prices across the board on food, housing, everything rise accordingly. There's just going to be a reshuffling of the deck because that's the way it works. So, I never saw that working.
Yeah.
Nikki jumps in on the YouTube chat. She said it was called the Universal Basic Income.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got to agree with you, Kevin. I think if there was a universal basic income, there'd be a universal basic tax increase or something that would, or universal basic price increase that would offset that exactly. And we'd all be exactly in the same spot that we're in right now.
Universal gouge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The only thing, okay, I'm old school, but to me, the only thing that really should be given is just an opportunity. And I want to say the equal playing field, but unfortunately, life is not fair. Although I do think that was the thing that attracted people to the United States in the beginning, in the early years of this country being built, was that this was a land of opportunity. Everyone knew, okay, I can go over there, and if I'm willing to work hard and do what I have to do, at the end of the day, I can come up with something. And I think, that being what the country is founded on, I mean, I'm for it. I mean, when we have to start one man's opinion, we have to stand back and start saying, okay, we need to give everybody money. And that's a problem. And we need to evaluate some things about our nation. So why do we be giving something? Is our cost of living too high? Or are our citizens, is it too difficult for our citizens? Or are they lazy? You know what I mean? I think that it invokes a deeper conversation.
Okay. And I'm all for having that conversation, but can we postpone it till after I get the next check? just throw me a stimulus check and then let's have that conversation.
Well,
I don't know about you. My electric bill just went through the ceiling this week, so I could use the money.
Oh yeah, yeah. That AC has not gone off all week.
Well, free money it can be a dangerous thing. I mean, on one side of the coin, like the welfare system was designed to be a bridge, not a camp. But with a lot of people, if you sit on your butt and a check arrives, it's like, oh, okay, how do I continue? You know what I mean? It doesn't work in the minds of everyone, you know, and that's, I'm not even saying that's a problem with the left or right. I think that's just a shortcoming of being human.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, Kevin, you've been the only, I shouldn't say you've been the only, you've been the first voice of reason to call in this evening, and it's great talking to you. We really appreciate it. We're sorry you waited so late in the show to call in, because now we're almost out of time.
Oh, that's okay. You know, I didn't want to rush things.
Oh, all right, fashionably late. I see. I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Put a nice exclamation point on the show. It's very nice.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you so much for your call tonight, Kev.
Hey, thanks, guys.
You take care, and I hope you're enjoying the show, and we hope you're going to watch next week and call us back again, because we'll probably need somebody to call in right after Trump calls in again. We'll need some rationing.
Count on it, and be careful what you wish for.
All right. That sounds good. Thanks again. Have a wonderful night.
Night,
You
Kevin.
too, thanks, guys.
And Reasons jumping in on the YouTube chat again, talking about the universal, what was it? I lost it again. Universal basic income.
Okay.
He said it would be okay if it were not, if we were not in horrible debt and it only went to citizens. The problem is paying the world. And yeah, I mean, that's certainly a problem. I think the whole problem with this whole bailout, why are we bailing out all these corporations and giving them millions of dollars in these situations when, yeah, people are struggling to pay their rent, people are unemployed, people are, can't feed themselves sometimes.
Yeah, I see what I can see your point there. I do agree.
You might see, like they had for the brief time they had. I'm not sure why it stopped. Where they, were putting a pause on on rent, on house payments, on things like that. They just put a universal pause on that kind of stuff. I'm not sure why that stopped.
Well, yeah, well, there's all kinds of questions about decisions that have been made during this administration. However, from the in case you've been living under a rock file, and just to put a sense of perspective on things, if you're wondering if it could possibly be any worse, the answer is it could. If you were living in Russia right now, you are probably listening to the stories about how one of Putin's longtime greatest opposition leaders, a gentleman by the name of Alexei Navalny, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it is Russian, so I do my best. Anyway, he just got poisoned, and that always seems to happen to all of Putin's political detractors. This one happened while he was up in an airplane. Apparently, the plan was that he wouldn't be anywhere near a hospital, and there would be no chance of him surviving. Yeah. But as the case is, he actually is clinging to life in a Russian hospital somewhere, probably in Siberia right now, and we may never hear from him again anyway. But yeah. So it could be worse, although how long do you suppose before Trump starts taking that page from the Putin playbook? I just wanted to throw that tongue twister in there one more time.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic page from the Putin playbook. Hasn't that happened before? One of his main detractors had radiation poisoning and died.
It's happened, and his daughter, too, don't forget. They both got it. I don't think either one of them died, but I don't think that they're so vocally opposed to Putin anymore. And speaking of strange tactics, there is, of course, the whole Postmaster General recently appointed by Trump, Louis DeJoy, who's running around. His joy, evidently, is taking away mail sorting machines and mailboxes all across the country. But he's specifically targeting in large quantities, evidently, mailboxes and sorting machines in California. I wonder why. And there are post office insiders who are not afraid to say, this is union members and the rank and file, those guys that are actually coming to your house every day, dropping off the mail, saying it is clear that he is attempting to tamper with the post office's ability to handle the mail-in ballots and to somehow hijack the election in November, whether it is outright because they simply can't get the ballots back in time and they don't get counted, or whether it's to cast doubt on the competency of the post office and the validity of those ballots. It apparently works in both directions, but this is the game that he is playing now. Todd, you are totally quiet there.
Like I said, he's pulling every dirty trick in the book to try to make sure this election either doesn't happen, or, I don't know, that there's so many holes in it that he can trigger a recount, trigger a redo, have the whole thing thrown out in some way.
Yes.
I really don't understand how it is he is single-handedly allowed to, just do these things, like back with the Muslim ban, where he was enacting all this stuff at airports and things, and then people were like,
Muslims.
they were like, this isn't exactly legal, and they had to pull that back. How is it allowed to happen in the first place?
I'm really rich.
Yeah, that's the reason. That's the main reason.
That's pretty much it right there. I think that sums it all up. At least he thinks he is. He's got everybody believing that he is. We still have never seen his tax return. We don't know exactly how much of the money is his and how much belongs to other people. And then, of course, there's a former political figure within his campaign that has now been arrested for embezzling all kinds of money from donors for this Rebuild the Wall campaign. Did you catch that in the news? I mean, I'm sorry, but if everyone around you is shady, it doesn't seem that, what's that old expression? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And yes, I know that Chevelle is sitting there right now alongside his newfound cohort Reason saying, oh, they're politicians, they're all shady. Yes, that's probably true to some degree. But when you don't even try to hide it anymore, when you put it out in the open and say, what's the problem? That's where you've gone way, you've not only gone over the line, you went over the cliff in my book.
We have Pauline on the YouTube chat. She says, haven't there been recent mail-in elections that still haven't been resolved? And there's Reason saying so many crazy conspiracies these days. Mailboxes, Russia, Cannon Pizzagate, stealing elections. You can't believe anything anymore. Yeah, and that's the problem. I think there's so much information available in this internet age that you can't believe everything you read because it's so much of it is contradictory.
Well, I agree that you can't take anything at face value. What this reinforces is your need, your obligation to do some research on your own instead of just sitting there and letting everybody spoon feed you what they want you to know. The information is out there. You might have to weed through a lot of garbage to get it, but the information is out there. You just have to do the work. And there, again, is the problem. It's just like the whole COVID situation where nobody could handle staying in their house for 2 months, and nobody can seem to handle wearing a mask and staying 6 feet away. Nobody wants to actually lift their fingers and tap the keyboard a couple of times and get some answers to their questions. And I don't understand this.
Well, I would disagree. The problem with that is that people are more often than not asking leading questions. You can find anyone on the internet to agree with whatever crazy stance you have. And that's what the whole anti-vax thing seems to be based on, is one person's crazy article on the internet that everyone just keeps referring to and keeps this ball rolling down the street. You can find someone or something to justify your opinion. And Chevelle's jumping on the YouTube chat. He says, time to grow up, folks. America was not perfect before Trump. Look at CJ, again, defending Trump. Won't be perfect after Trump. I think it's time to talk about what we can do as individuals and quit the armchair politicking.
I won't argue that it wasn't perfect before and it won't be perfect after, but it'll be a damn sight better after Trump if we could just get rid of him. I mean, nothing is perfect in this world, but we could make it a hell of a lot better than it is right now. That much I'm pretty sure of. Anyway, we're almost out of time, and I wanted to throw this one other story in there that's related to the post office. Of course, there has been discussion for a long time that the post office is hurting financially. As more and more things move online, there's less mail going through the post office. This, of course, has been the argument for why DeJoy is running around getting rid of mailboxes and chucking mail sorting machines, is he's trying to save the post office. Yeah, right. Anyway, so of all the celebrities to come to the aid of the post office, Cher announced that she wanted to go down and volunteer with the United States Postal Service to see if she could help out and bring some kind of notoriety to the Postal Service. And the Postal Service put a big stamp on it that said, rejected. Thanks, but no thanks. Here's the thing. I can see why this happened. They said she'd have to have all kinds of background checks and fingerprinting and everything else before anybody can. You have to be employed. You can't just volunteer. They don't have volunteers. Well, it's the Federal Mail Service. Unless they can. Can you imagine if they just started letting volunteers in? Oh my God, everybody would be able to say, "Oh, the Postal Service, you can't trust them at all." I mean, my God, Todd could go down there and touch my mail. So, I see where this...
Cher in and start sorting posts. You put her on a mic and have her sing to the guys who actually do it. Or something like that.
If I could mail a letter. Where do you go with that? I don't know.
Oh, my God. Nikki... I have to say this quick. Nikki's jumping in. She says, call a library and have them help you find legit sources. You can learn legitimate information on the internet.
Wait, are there any libraries? I thought Trump was burning all the books, too. I thought he was taking pages from the Nazi playbook while he was at it. I didn't know the libraries were still open. Didn't he pull funding to all that? If he hasn't, he probably will soon. Just saying, Yes, I know. Who was it that was saying I was spreading, rumors or something? Yeah, we know. Trump hasn't actually said that yet, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know how to read.
I think he just chooses not to.
Oh, is that what
quote,
it is?
Unquote.
Oh.
He refuses to read anything besides his own tweets.
Yes. Yeah, I'm wondering if anyone checks
have you seen his
tweets? Errors. How many errors are there in there?
Kevin loves your Cher impersation. He wants more.
I don't know. I think I'm going to get sued from Cher for that one. I apologize, Cher. I actually like that song, by the way. I just it was the first thing that popped into my head. I'm sorry. For all the Cher fans out there,
demonetized.
Yeah, seriously, for all the Cher fans out there that I upset. I forgot to mention also that among other things, if the Malibu Film Foundation's films and special projects help the arts in your community, and you can help by getting involved. You can check them out at MalibuFilmFestival.org. So you should definitely do that. It's time for us to get on out of here on Around Midnight. Thanks for watching. We will be back next Thursday night. At least we hope. Take care. Have a great evening, everybody.